Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Let's start on page 535. Hine Matov.
Hine ma tov
Naim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manaim shevet nashim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet kulanu yachad. Hine ma tov shevet kulanu yachad. Hine ma tov u'manaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manaim shevet nashim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, yananai, yananai, yananai. Hine ma tov, yananai, yananai, yananai. Hine ma tov u'manaim shevet kulanu yachad. Hine ma tov u'manaim shevet kulanu yachad. Shabbat Shalom!
Shabbat Shalom.
All right, everybody who came in person gets 5 extra points because it is so sticky outside that it's like you swam here.
Gryffindor.
So 5 extra points to anybody in the kahal.
5 points.
And those who are at home, because we're in the chapel, we can't see you, and I miss you, but we love you, and we're so happy you're here too. So Shabbat Shalom to those at home. Hello. So glad that you're here. And we'll begin on page 153 with Birkot HaShachar. Please rise in body or spirit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei haolamim hama'avir sheina me'enai utnuma me'afapai. Blessed are you, the provident our God, life of all the worlds, who gives the bird of dawn discernment to tell day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei haolamim rokah haaretz al hamayim. Blessed are you, the lamp, our God, life of all the worlds, who makes the blind to see. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei haolamim malbish harumim. Blessed are you, redeeming one, our God, life of all the worlds, who makes the captive free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei haolamim zokef kefufim. Blessed are you, the way, our God, life of all the worlds, who makes firm a person's steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei haolamim she'asa li kol tzorki. Blessed are you, the mighty one, our God, life of all the worlds, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei haolamim oter Yisrael v'tifarah. Blessed are you, the imageless, our God, life of all the worlds, who made me in your image. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei haolamim she'asani ben chorin. Blessed are you, the ancient one, our God, life of all the worlds, who made me of the people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei haolamim hanoten le'ya'ef kol.
Let's read through on page 162.
Blessed are you, miraculous, the wondrous healer of all flesh.
You may be seated. 165.
Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehora tehora.
שנתת בי טהורה היא. אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהורה היא. Read with me in the English, 164. My God, the soul you gave to me is pure. You have created it, you shaped it, and you breathed it into me, and you preserve it deep inside of me. And someday you will take it from me, restoring it to everlasting life. Page 177. Please rise in body and spirit.
Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam, Baruch hu, Baruch oseh v'reshit, Baruch shemo, Baruch omer ve'oseh, Baruch hu, Baruch gozer m'kayem, Baruch shemo, Baruch merachem al ha'aretz, Baruch hu, Baruch merachem al habriot, Baruch shemo, Baruch meshalem sachar tov lireav, Baruch hu, Baruch ma'avir afela umevi ora, Baruch shemo, Baruch chai la'ad v'kayam lanetzach, Baruch hu, Baruch podei umatzil, Baruch hu, Baruch shemo.
You may be seated. Since we're a little bit small here in the chapel this morning, let's just take a brief moment before we do for sure, and we have many tzvaot and armies and spirits and angels surrounding us online as well.
Amen.
However, we're about to do the psalm for Shabbat, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov Lahodot L'Adonai. It's good to give thanks. So let's just take a little moment to think about something that we might be thankful for this morning. And those who are online, if you can put it in the chat. Those who are in person can say out loud.
No.
Air conditioning, yes.
That was mine.
Yes. Reading a book on the subway. Mazel tov. Aww. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Caring community. Page 209.
Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, Lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatecha baleilot. Tzadik katamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yizkeh, shetulim beveit Adonai, bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu. Od yenuvun v'seva, deshenim v'rananim yihiyu, lehagid ki hashar Adonai, tzuri v'lo Hallelujah, 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 Bekadsho, hallelujah, Birki Auzah, hallelujah, Bigvurotav, hallelujah, Kerav Gulav, hallelujah, 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 betek hashofar, hallelujah, b'neva v'chinor, hallelujah, b'tof u'machor, hallelujah, b'minim ve'ugav, hallelujah, 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 b'tziut leishama, hallelujah, b'tziut leitruah, kol hanshama tehallel hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Page 233, let's read from the second paragraph up from the bottom. We stand in the midst of the burning world, primed to burn with compassionate love and justice, to turn inward and find holy fire at the core, to turn outward and see the world that is all of one flesh with us, see under the trash, through the smog, the furry bee in the apple blossom, the trout leaping, the candles our ancestors lit for us. Fill us as the tide rustles into the reeds in the marsh. Fill us as the rushing water overflows the pitcher. Fill us as light fills a room with its dancing. Let the little quarrels of the bones and the snarling of the lesser appetites and the whining of the ego cease. Let silence still us so you may show us your shining, and we can, out of that stillness, rise and praise. 235.
נשמת כל חי תברך את שמך אדוני אלוהינו ורוח כל מסורת
And were our mouths oceans of song, our tongues alive with exultation like the water's waves, our lips filled full of praises like the heaven's dome, our eyes lit up like sun and moon, our hands spread out like eagle's wings, our feet as light as those of the gazelle, we would still never have sufficient praise for you, abundant one, our God. Last paragraph, 237.
אילו פינו מלא שירה, מלא שירה, שירה קיים, ושוננו רינה כהמון, המון גליו. אילו פינו מלא שירה, מלא שירה, שירה קיים, ושוננו רינה כהמון, המון גליו.
141.
נהלל חד שבחון ורחון ובשם קודשך קמו לדוד ברכי נפשי את אדוני וכל קרבי את שם קודשו האל בתעצומות עוזך הגדול בכבוד שמך הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורותיך המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו וחתורנו לצדיקים באדוני לישרים נבדילה בפי ישרים תתרומם דברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתקדש ובקרב קדושים תתהלל ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל בריאה בשמך מלכינו בכל שכן חובת כל יצורים לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו להודות להלל לשבח לפאר לרומם להדר לברך להעלה ולקלס על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו האל המלך הקדוש בשמיים ובארץ כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו שיר ושבחה הלל וזמרה עוז וממשלה נצח גדולה וגבורה תהילה ותפארת קדושה ומלכות ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודאות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אל העולמים יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבם בעלמא דברי חילותי והמליך מלכותי בחיי חון ובימי חון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה בזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבם מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמי יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר וירומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And the blessing gives us strength and makes our vision clear. And the blessing gives us peace and the courage to dare. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Seated.
247.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or vorei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol.
Page 265.
תתברך צוננו מלכנו וגאוננו בורא קדושים, ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו הצל מלשון אדמה. כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים, וכולם עושים בהמה וביראה רצון קונם, וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה, מברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול, הגיבור והנורא הקדוש הוא. וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים באהבה רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה ובנימה, קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו, והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מתנשאים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו לאל, ברוך נעימות ייתנו למלך אל חי וקיים זמירות ימי למלך כי זה לא זורע זורע צדקות מצמיח ישר המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית, כאמור לעושה אורים גדולים כי לעולם חסדו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
Turn to page 273 for Ahava Rabbah. I just want to point out this Siddur. You know, I am getting ordained at the Reconstructionist School, so I know a lot about this Siddur, which also, like the CBST Siddur, a lot of intention and effort went into making the Siddur, a lot of committee meetings, and I've heard all these stories about it, but I think that the commentary in it is really good. So I just invite you to read some of it. I was just reading this one, just at 273 at the very bottom. Harachaman, Hamirachem, Rachem, loving, caring, be merciful. These three consecutive words are based on the same root, rechem, Rachem, which is related to the Hebrew word for womb. And I thought that was interesting to imagine Ahava Rabbah with this sort of womb-like love, care, mercy. And so, just an invitation to look below the line in this Siddur. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here, and we'll do Ahava Rabbah, and if it's an interesting experience to imagine this womb-like aspect of it too, just an invitation to do that. So page 273.
Ahava Rabbah Avtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chem la gedola v'teira חמלת עלינו, אבינו מלכנו, בעבור אבותינו ואמותינו, שבטחו בך, אבינו מלכנו, ותלמדם חוקי חיים, כן תכוננו ותלמדנו, אבינו האב הרחמן, רחם עלינו, ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות, ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה, והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש ולא ניכלם ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה בשועתך.
We gather our seats.
והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו כמיהות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלה באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue individually with the next two paragraphs of the Shema.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Turn to page 290. Actually, I'm going to read below the line here. This is a guided meditation in this Siddur. The astounding moment of awe and thanksgiving experienced by the Israelites upon the crossing of the Red Sea has parallels in all of our lives. We have all had difficult crossings, experiences that we struggled through in spite of the pain they caused us. Thus, completion afforded us a sublime sense of inner joy and peace. Take a moment to recall one of those times. Allow the feelings of celebration to envelop you. Hold on to those feelings as you recite the Mi Chamocha, page 291.
Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai yai lai 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 Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tehilot osef ele Nora tehilot osef ele Shira chadasha shibechu geulim Leshimcha al sefat hayam Yachad kulam hodu Vehimlichu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed.
So in a moment, we'll rise for Tzor Yisrael. Do we rise here in this minyan for Tzor Yisrael? Okay, so in a moment we will rise, and then we'll go straight into the Amidah, our silent Amidah, and I'll just invite everyone to take those moments of celebration, take that feeling of womb-like love, and with all of those, take the time in the silent Amidah to pray individually in community for the support and guidance that you're looking for this Shabbat and into the week. So we'll rise for Tzor Yisrael.
Tzor Yisrael, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, Ufedechinu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael, Go aleinu, Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Gad Yisrael. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, let my mouth declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Elohei Bilha, Elohei Zilpah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imot, Umevi Geula Livnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, Rav lehoshia, morid hatal. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechaye kol chai berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'al gevurot umidol melech, melech meimit umechaye umatmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman ata le'achayot kol chai, baruch ata Adonai mechaye kol chai. Page 303. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנשאים לעומת שרפים לעומתם, ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים, ירושלים עירך, ירושלים, ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים. ועינינו תראינה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, כי אל מלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. כי אל מלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל יושבי תבל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel.
We turn now to page 319, and I invite everyone to rise. And if you have a talit, to spread it over our whole congregation. Here in the chapel, we can be even closer to each other, it feels like.
Yeah.
For this prayer for peace. Thank you, Harold, for our congregation. Oh, thank you. Just go under yours.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha ken yehi ratzon.
May the Eternal bless you and protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka ken yehi ratzon.
May the Eternal's face give light to you and show you favor.
Isa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, shalom, ken yehi ratzon.
May the Eternal's face be lifted toward you and bestow upon you peace.
Amen. Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. And it's my pleasure to call up Neil to lead us in the Torah service.
Yes.
Oh, Kaddish Shalom first. Thank you, Rabbi Werber. Neil.
Start the long walk up
Yeah,
to
the
the
long-
Bima.
Page 381 first for Kaddish Shalom.
Eat gadal vit gadashim meirava.
Amen.
Ve'almad livrachute ve'amlich malchute b'chaychon ve'omechon v'chay dechol Beit Yisrael b'agalal v'zman kariv ve'imeru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'alam u'almei amaya. Barach v'ishtabach v'itpa'ar v'itramam v'itnaseh v'itadar v'talei v'tala shemei dekudsha. Brechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush v'chata v'nechmata damiran ve'alma ve'imeru. Amen. תתקבל צלותינו ואותנו לכל בית ישראל קודם אבוהוני ושמע ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. Now Neil is. Are you halfway into the
I'm
not quite there.
Let's move. Yeah, let's just move one of these, and then we're gonna.
It's like a little taste of High Holy Days with this table.
It's just Laura.
This is the table? No, this is the table, I think. The table. Yeah. I
It's
think
the
that
table of what is it? The show table. The show
table.
yeah,
Showbread.
show branding.
This can be your rehearsal.
Some of the short people like that table.
Okay. Page 383. Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai v'ein k'ma'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz li'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom Avrachamim heitiva b'rtzoncha et Zion Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim Ki becha levad batachnu melech elram v'nisa Adon olamim. We turn to page 385, and as the ark is opened, we ask you to rise in body or in spirit. Pitchuli sharei tzedek avovam hodeyah. Pitchuli sharei tzedek avovam hodeyah. Page 387, the middle paragraph, Be'ana rachetz. Be'ana rachetz, Ve'lishmei kadisha, kadisha yakira, ana amartu shechan. Be'ana rachetz, Be'ana rachetz, Ve'lishmei kadisha, kadisha yakira, ana amartu shechan. Yehi rava kadama, Tiftach libi be'oraita, V'tashlim b'shalin deribi, V'liba dechol ama Yisrael, L'tavu chayin v'lishlam. Amen. In you alone we place our trust, and to your holy precious names we call our praises. May it be your will that you open our hearts through your Torah. May you fulfill the yearnings of our hearts and the hearts of all your people Israel, for goodness, for life, and for enduring peace. Amen. We turn to page 393 for the call and response. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol, Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti uneromema Shemo Yachdav.
בשמיים ובארץ ככל בשמיים ובארץ לך אדוני הממלכה והמתנשא לכל ראש רוממו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להדום רגליו קדוש הוא רוממו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו.
I see it. That's me over there. Shabbat Shalom. So we are reading from a very special Parsha Pinchas, which, as you likely know, we read many times a year because although we're not reading these verses, it speaks about all of the festivals. So we read on Rosh Chodesh, we read it on all the Chagim, and there's a very special story which I noticed was quoted. Rabbi Ruber, you said that I never knew these were automated quotes that come up. But there's a quote about the daughters of Zelophehad, which is a really amazing story. We're going to actually do a blessing, a kavanah, to call those daughters into mind, but we don't actually read them. But so do read ahead, though, because it's a really inspiring story. And this parsha is mostly about a census, so lots of names, very few of which seem to have made it into like the top 100 U.S. baby names this year somehow, but follows a very, like the last few lines of Korach are like there's a so-called righteous killing by Pinchas, which is which I find very problematic, but we'll discuss that later. We do well, yeah. So we. Yes, so that's why the parsha starts with, is named Pinchas. So, we are starting on page 1074. So we're in the book of Numbers, chapter 25, and Rabbi Joe is going to be starting with verse 10, page 1074. So we are going to, so we have 7 readings. We will have, we'll have communal blessings for healing, for remembrance, for celebration. Of course, we will honor our teachers as they so deserve, and there'll be a couple of kavanot, and then, as I said, we'll have a blessing. I'll explain later about the daughters, as they call them. Yeah. So page 1074. So this first blessing, actually, I don't notice anyone who's here for the first time. So, but this will be a blessing for welcome. Yeah. You want to come up? So this is a blessing of welcome. So if it's your first time in the synagogue, your first time at a Shabbat morning service here, if it's your first time actually in this chapel, you're welcome to come up. Or if you prefer not to, no pressure, we will still do a blessing of welcome so that you feel welcome. Oh, good.
You're blessed for the first time?
Make it up. V'yazor v'yagim v'yishil l'chol ha'chosim bo v'nomar ha'kol chabuko l'l'hinu nechavod la'torah ekra la'amod l'aliyah harishona. So come here. Baruch shenatan Torah li'amo Yisrael b'kedushato v'yatem hadbechim b'Adonai lechem chayim kolchem hayom. Oh, sorry. Let me get you the prayer. Yeah, is this good?
Baruch et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai barak le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamvorach. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu im kol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'yedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, Pinchas ben Elazar, ben Aharon haKohen, Heshiv et chamoti me'al bnei Yisrael, Bekano et kinati betocham, Lo chiliti et bnei Yisrael, Bekinati. Lachen emor, hineni noten lo, et briti
Shalom.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'hayu olam natanu b'tochenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Welcome, Sarah. Sarah? Yeah. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
I hope you'll come many more times. And
I'm just
yeah.
traveling here.
So the next time we'll look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
Yes. Liz will continue the reading with verse 13 at the top of page 1074, and this will be the blessing honoring our teachers, Rabbi Werber, Cantor Rosen, and Cooperberg Rittmaster Rabbinical intern Eliza Schwartz. Are you technically an intern in July? You are, okay.
Summer intern.
Summer intern,
You can
okay.
add the word summer in there.
Cooperberg Rittmaster summer intern Elijah Schwartz. No, because aren't there like regulatory issues that like, yeah.
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
Okay, maybe that was something Rabbi Kleinbaum once told me to scare me or something. Okay.
This is confusing. Okay.
Ikra la'amod. Oh wait, hold on. I have to say your names. Ikra la'amod Harav Yael Batya, Bat Mordechai Verina, Hechazan Shmuel, Ben David Halevi, Virachel, and Elijah, you were here. Pesa Bat Rachel Chana, Vivulvul, Valiaha Shiniya. Oh my God, Vulvul, what an interesting name. Oh, wow. Vulvul, interesting.
This we came from the beginning of Bidai. Bahita. Okay, great. Baruch Adonai Havarach. Baruch Adonai Havarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Havarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ad Shechina Eloteinu Ruach Haolam. Asher Bachra Banu Im Kol Hamim. V'natna Lanu Et Torata. Baruch Ad Shechina Notenet HaTorah. Amen. Amen. Haitalo ve'uzro acharav berit kahunat olam tachad asher kinei le'elohav v'yichaper abanei Yisrael v'shem Israel, sorry about that. Hamukeh asher huka et hamijanid Zimri ben Salu Nasi Beit Ab Shimonid Veshem Ha'isha Hamuka Hamijanit Kozbi Vatsur Rosh Umod Beit Av Binyan Those are the good names. Ruchat Shechina Eloteinu Ruach Haolam Asher Natna Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Nat'a B'tochenu Ruchat Shechina Notenet HaTorah.
Amen. The third reading continues in the middle of page 1074 with verse 16. And in this reading, the census begins. And so this will be a blessing for remembrance. Anyone who is holding in their hearts loved ones from seasons past, however near or far. Ikra la'amod, all those remembering loved ones, Laliyah hashlishi.
Hu et Adonai Hamorach. Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher Bachar Banu Im Kol Ha'amim. V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayidaber Adonai Moshe lemor, Zaror et hamidyanim hikitem otam, kitzorim hem lachem b'nichlehem, asher nichlu lachem al davar peor, ve'al davar kozbi bat nasi midyan, achotam hamuka, b'yom hamakefa, al davar peor, vayhi acharei hamagefa, Vayomer Adonai el Moshe ve'el Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen lemor Seu et Rosh Koladat b'nei Israel Miben Esrim Shana V'mala lebeit avotam kol yotzei tzava b'Yisrael Vaydaber Moshe ve'elazar hakohen otam barvot Moab al Yarden Yericho lemor Mi ben esrim shana v'mala kasher tziva Adonai et Moshe u'bnei Israel hayotzim
Eretz Mitzrayim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Would you like to say aloud the names of the loved ones that you're remembering?
My paternal grandfather, Sheldon Bulk.
I opened the dedication on my Torah commentary, and it was from Devorah Stahl for Yolanda Podosinski, and so that made me think of beloved Devorah Stahl.
Yes.
Well, this is my mother's birthday month.
Oh, yes, so you're really remembering her. Yeah. May all their memories always be for blessing.
Thank you.
Shakawach.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
This week I got my newsletter from the Hebrew Free Burial Association, and featured on the front page was a story about Devorah leaving them a substantial amount of money in memory of her father.
Wow. Yeah, she was very, very generous to CBST. Wow.
Well, thank you. The fourth reading continues on page 1075. Elizabeth will start the reading. We're in chapter 26, verse 5. And I actually just want to thank Elizabeth, who stepped in really at the last moment to learn the first few verses. I so appreciate it. And I had every intention of learning it last night, but I don't know, I fell asleep. So we'll do our best up here. Oh, and this will be a blessing for healing. Anyone who is in need of healing, whether that healing be of body or of spirit, or if you are thinking of someone who's not present, who's in need of healing, we welcome you to the bima for a blessing, or if you prefer to stand or sit at your seats for the blessing. Ekra la'amod, all those who are asking a refuah shlema, la'aliyah ha'revi'it.
Baruch et Adonai Hamorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu im kol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Reuven, Bechor Israel, Bnei Reuven, Chanosh Mishpachat HaChanochi, Lefalu HaMishpachat HaPalui, Lechetzron Mishpachat HaChetzroni, Lecharmi Mishpachat HaKarmi, Ela Mishpachot HaRevini, Vayehu Pekudehem, Shlosha V'Arba'im Elef, Ushva Me'od Shloshim. Take it away.
Uvene palu aliav, uvene aliav, Nimuel vidatan v'aviram, Udatan v'aviram, kriye haida, asher hitzu al Moshe, v'al Haron b'dat Korach, b'chatzotam al Adonai, v'tiftach haaretz et piha v'tivla otam, v'et kudad b'mot haida, v'achol I can't read it. V'ha'ish et chamishim u'matayim ish v'hiyu l'neis uvenei korach lo metu.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
So we'll pause so that people up here can say aloud names. And I'm sorry. Actually, I'm going to ask Rabbi Werber to facilitate.
I wanted to, I felt like this has been a particularly heavy week, carrying a lot of folks who are ill in our community. And so I wanted to first just, we're all missing the presence of Saul Zalkin, who is not well right now. And I wanted to, I wanted to say aloud that we're all thinking of him and hoping that he has a refuah shlema, and that if he's watching or if Michelle's watching, that we're sending all of our love to both of them and their families. And just to say to the community that this is a good time, if you know of somebody who's ill or someone who's not doing well, to reach out and check in on them and hear how they're doing and visit. So thinking of everybody who's not doing well. And I'll say these names here, and then everybody who's here can add the names of who they're thinking of. So thinking of Aislinn Berndorf, Peter Klein, Bruce Leipzig, Murray Leipzig, Harvey Lubitz, Fiona MacMichael, Richard March, Scott Jason Miller, Alan Packer, Sue Rosansky, Barbara Schultz, Raymond Slater, Krautheim, Saul Zalkin, and Chana Bat Meir Vechana.
I don't want to mention the name, but my friend has memory issues.
My sister-in-law Sharon, and then also two friends who just finished chemo.
My cousin Larry Boucher.
Jakob Ben-Golder, Shlomo, Mara Joppi-Gals, and myself.
So may they have a full and complete healing, a healing of body and a healing of spirit. And for those who won't be healed on this earth, we wish them nights free of suffering, and that they may be surrounded by family, friends, and loving community. Amen.
Yishar Chachachem. Thank you, Rabbi. The fifth reading continues at the bottom of page 1075. Leslie will continue the reading in chapter 26 with verse 12, and this aliyah will be a kavanah for gratitude and intention for anyone who is feeling particularly grateful at this moment for whatever reason, or are, like so many of us, always struggling, working to see the blessings and to be grateful in order to live a more authentic life and complete life. Ikrala Mode, all those who are working on gratitude. Stacy doing the blessing on our behalf. Lalia Hachamishit.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha banu im kol ha'amim, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה.
Amen. Amen. בני שמעון, למשפחותם, לנמואל, משפחת הנמואלי, לימים, משפחת הימיני, ליחי, משפחת היחיני, לזרח, משפחת הזרחי, לשאול, משפחת השאולי, אלה משפחת השמיני, 22,200. That's okay. Good. בני גד למשפחתם, לצפון משפחת הצפוני, לחגי משפחת החגי, לשוני משפחת השוני, לאוזני משפחת האוזני, לערי משפחת הערי, לערוד משפחת הערודי, לאראלי משפחת האראלי, אלה משפחות בני גד, משפחות בני גד, לפקודיהם, 40,500 בני יהודה, עד ועונן וימות, ועונן וימות, ועונן בארץ כנען, ויהיו בני יהודה למשפחותם, לשאלה משפחת השאלני, לפרץ משפחת הפרצי, לזרח משפחת הזרחי, ויהיו בני פרץ לחצרון משפחת החצרוני, לחמול משפחת החמולי, אלה משפחת יהודה, לפקודיהם 76,500.
Not easy names, right?
She did so wonderful. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, v'chaye olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yes, Stacey, if you want to share what you're grateful for, we'd love to hear it.
A friend of mine, a longtime friend, his name is Gary Cantor, and he's the first person that I told him that I was going to CBST, and he was thrilled. And so we talked a long time about going to Israel, and he's helping me go to Israel. So I'll be going to Israel, hopefully, because we put a down payment, hopefully at the end of October. Wow. That's time in my life.
Remind us when you're going so that we can give a blessing for safe journeying in October. Yesha Koach. The sixth reading continues on page 1076. Tara continues the census with verse 23. And you'll note towards the end that there's a reference to Zelophehad, and for the first time, daughters, I think the first time in this reading, the daughters are named. And as I mentioned before, a little bit after our reading ends, since we're in the triennial, there's a story about the daughters who claim their place, so that they can get the land owed them. And so this blessing is a kavanah for any of us who are trying to find our voice, to claim our place, to claim our rights, to speak up for ourselves in whatever way that feels.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And Tara can say the blessing on our behalf. Ekra la'amod. Ekra la'amod. All those who are emulating the daughters of Zelophehad, Aliyah Hashishit.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu im kol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. B'nei zachar l'mishpachotam tola mishpachat hatola'i l'fuva mishpachat hapuni l'yashuv mishpachat hayashuvi l'shimron mishpachat hashimroni Eila mishpachot Yisachar livkudehem Arba'a v'shishim elef u'shlosh me'ot B'nei Zvulun l'mishpachotam l'sered Mishpachat Hasardi l'Elon Mishpachat Ha'eloni l'Yachleel Mishpachat Hayachleli Eila Mishpachot Hazavuloni Lifkudehem Shishim Elef V'chamesh Me'ot B'nei Yosef L'mishpachotam Menashe v'Ephraim B'nei Menashe L'machir Mishpachat HaMachiri L'machir Holid Et Gilad L'Gilad Mishpachat Hagiladi Eila B'nei Gilad Yezer Mishpachat HaYezri L'Chelek Mishpachat HaChalki Asriel Mishpachat Asrieli V'Shechem Mishpachat Hashichmi Ushmida Mishpachat Hashmidai V'Chefer Mishpachat HaChefri Utzlochad Ben Chefer Lo hayu lo banim ki im banot Sheim benot Zlochad Machla v'noach Ogla milka v'tirtza Eila mishpachot ben Asher Uvkudehem Shnayim V'chamishim Elef Ushva Me'ot
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Can I say what?
Yeah, sure. Oh, Tara, can you stand for me? Yes.
So
find your voice.
I teach at an online school, and I received a request from the state of Florida that they are now requesting a notarized resume of all instructors to join a consortium of independent schools. So, yeah. So, and one line on there asks specifically for a name change. So, I don't know actually what their intent is, but I know what it can do and I know how it can be used. So I wrote a letter asking the school not to do this, and, you know, we'll see what happens.
Kol hakavod. The seventh and final reading continues on page 1077 with verse 35, and the final blessing will be a blessing for smachot, anything that is bringing you joy, anything that you're celebrating, however small, however big, anything that's just giving you joy at this moment. We invite you to come up and share that with us. Ekra la'amod, all those who are feeling joyful, l'aliyah hashivi'it.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMorach. Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu im kol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ele b'nei Ephraim le'mishpachotam lishutelach mishpachat hashutalchi levechem mishpachat habakri letachan mishpachat hatachani ve'ele b'nei shutalach le'aran mishpachat ha'arani. Ele mishpachot b'nei Ephraim livchudehem shnayim ushloshim elef v'chamesh me'ot. Ele b'nei Yosef lemishpachotam b'nei Binyamin lemishpachotam levela mishpachat habali le'ashvel mishpachat hashveli le'achiram mishpachat ha'achirami lishpufam mishpachat hashufami lechupam mishpachat hachufami v'yu b'nei Belad v'naaman mishpachat harti l'naaman mishpachat hanami ele b'nei Binyamin lemishpachotam uvkudehem chamisha d'arba'im elef v'shesh me'ot ele b'nei Dan lemishpachotam לשוחם משפחת השוחמי אלה משפחותן למשפחותם משפחת השוחמי לפקודיהם 46,400 בני אשר למשפחותם לימינה משפחת הימינה לישבי משפחת הישבי לבריאה משפחת הבריאה לבני בריאה לחבר משפחת החברי למלכיאל משפחת המלכיאלי בשם בת אשר שרח אלה משפחות בני אשר לפקודיהם 53,400 Bnei Naphtali lemishpachotam leyaksiel mishpachat hayaksieli liguni mishpachat haguni leyetzer mishpachat hayitzri leshilei mishpachat hashilemi Ele mishpachot Natali lemishpachotam of Kudehem Chamisha v'arba'im elef v'arba'a me'ot Ele pikudei b'nei Yisrael shesh me'ot elef ve'elef shva me'ot u'shloshim
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam atah b'tocheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
So if you are so moved, we'd love to hear what you're feeling joyful about or what you're celebrating.
I passed 700 days of sobriety this week.
Oh, wow.
And started a new job at work that comes with health insurance.
Whoa!
Kinahara, I have 2 gainfully employed children.
Whoa!
The Phillies are above 500. I hope to continue the streak.
Oh my gosh. I never thought I would be a grandparent, and I'm not actually a grandparent, but I wound up with 2 amazing twins in my life who just turned 7 months, and I spend one afternoon. My Shabbat starts with spending a few hours with them on Friday afternoons, and every week they are a little different. And the past week, little Alice, who has a big part of my heart, has started pulling herself up on everything. And it makes me think of the daughter who decides that she is going to show her strength, and she's just very brave, and she pulls herself up and she looks at me like, ha, see?
And I just want to say that the last few months I've actually suffered from a temporary hearing loss, and I just regained it.
Really?
A few weeks ago, and it's like
On its own?
it's a moment of such like really joy.
Wow, yeah.
But it's given me these 6 months, as hard as they've been, it's really given me a real appreciation of people with managing
Right.
various abilities.
Yes. Wow.
Anyway, Mazal Tov, Yasher Koach.
This was the last one, right?
This was the last one. Yes. No more names. Please rise in body or spirit for the Chatzi Kaddish. Page 405. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlik malchutei b'chayechano yomechan uv'chayedecha beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'meru Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mivorach Leolam Leom Me'amaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpar V'yitramam V'yinaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha Leila min kol berchata v'shirata tush berchata v'nechemata damiran b'yama v'yimeru. Please remain standing in body or spirit if you're able for the lifting and wrapping.
The dynamic duo, Sam and Jessica.
Ekra lamod lagba, ekra lamod haglila. seated. The Haftorah for Pinchas is from the book of Jeremiah and can be found on page 1113. And I turn it over to Harold.
And I want to say hello to everybody, our at-home, or our remote congregation. I understand from Sharon that there are actually more people streaming than there are here, and we have a nice group here. So there is, let's hold all of them in our minds, that it is not just us worshiping this morning, but it is a large number of people who are following us online. And I will say that I had my plans for the Haftarah, and then I heard the remarkable drash given by Cooperberg Gridmaster summer rabbinic intern Eliza Schwartz about the Haftarot, the importance of the Haftarot as we approach the high holidays. And I also noticed that Cantor Rosen shivers every time I say approach the high holidays. And so I'm going to be doing something a little different than I had originally planned, a little bit more of the Haftarah. And I will say, as it says here in our Haftarah commentary, this is the first of 3 commemorative Haftarot of affliction, read each year between the 17th of Tammuz, when the Babylonian army breached the city walls, and the 9th of Av, when it razed the temple. This Haftarah coincides with, but does not relate to, the reading of either Pinchas or Matot alone. And so I'm going to be mixing this up in Hebrew and English because the portion that we were assigned for today did not actually contain the part that had the affliction. And I want to make sure that we hear about our affliction because, as we were taught last night, it is important to feel these strong emotions together as a community. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzah v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet. So this is on page 1113 in the Haftarah commentary. It is Jeremiah, book 1, and I am starting on verse 4. Vayehi dvar Adonai Eli, Vayehi dvar Adonai Eli lemor, beterem etzorcha baveten Yadaticha uvterem tetze merehem hikdashticha navi legohoi natita vayomer aha Adonai Elohim hine lo yadati Devar ki nahar anochi vayomer Adonai Elahai al tomar na'ar anochi ki al kol asher eshlachacha telech ve'et kol asher atzavcha tidaber Al tira mipnehem ki icha ani lechatzilecha neum Adonai vayishlach Adonai et yado veyaga al pi vayomer Adonai Elahai hine natati divarahai Bificha re'eh hifkadeticha hayom hazeh al hagoyim ve'al hamamlachot lintosh ve'lintots ulha'avid ve'lacharos livnohot ve'lintoah. Vayehi dvar Adonai Elahai lemor ma'atah ro'eh Yirmeyahu Vayomar Mikhael Shachet Ani Roeh Vayomer Adonai Eli Chetivta Lirot Kishoked Ani Al Divarihi La'asoto. Okay. So now we are on, let's see, where were we? Okay. 11. And the word of the Eternal came to me, saying, "What do you see, Jeremiah?" And I said, "I see the branch of an almond tree." The Eternal then said to me, "You see well. I am like an almoner dispensing my word to be fulfilled." The word of the Eternal came to me a second time. "What do you see?" And I said, "I see a boiling pot whose face is tipped away from the north." And the Eternal One said to me, "Out of the north shall disaster break forth over all the people of the land. I am calling all the kings of the north," says the Eternal One. "Each one will set up his throne facing the gates of Jerusalem and all its surrounding walls and all the cities of Judah. I will deliver my verdict against them for all their evil deeds, for they have forsaken me and have sacrificed to other gods and prostrated themselves before the work of their own hands. So you gird your loins, get up and speak to them all that I have commanded you. Do not lose your nerve because of them, or I will unnerve you before them. I am making you this day a fortified city, an iron pillar, and like bronze walls against the whole land, against the kings of Judah, against its leaders, priests, and people of the land. They shall attack you, but they shall not overcome you, for I am with you to keep you safe, says the Eternal One. Now back to the Hebrew. Vayahi devar Adonai Eli lemor haloch v'karata be'ozne Yerushalayim lemor ko amar Adonai zacharti lach chesed v'neurayich Zacharti lach chesed neurayich ve'ahavat kilulotayich lechtech acharai kemidbar be'eretz lo zeurah. Kodesh Yisrael Adonai Reshit Tivuato Kol Ochlav Yeshamu Ra'ah Tavo Alehem Neum Adonai Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Tzur Kol HaOlamim Tzadik B'Kol HaDorot Ha'el HaNe'eman Ha'amor Ve'oseh Hamdaver Umkayehem Shechol Devarav Emet Vatzedek Ne'eman Atahu Adonai Eloheinu V'ne'emanim Devarecha V'davar Echad Midvarecha Achor Lo Yeshuv Rekam Ki El Melech Ne'eman V'rachaman Ata Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaNe'eman Bechol Devarav Rachem Al Tzion Ki Bet Chayenu V'la'amcha Yisrael Toshia Bimchara B'yameinu Baruch Ata Adonai Misameach Sion B'vanecha Samchenu Adonai Eloheinu V'Eliyahu Hanavi Avdecha Bimhara Yavo V'Yagel Libenu V'Hashev Levavot Al Banihim V'Lev Banim Al Avotaham Uveitcha Beit Tefillah Yikarei Lechol Ha'amihim Baruch Ata Adonai Mevi Shalom La'ahad Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lahanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha ulimnucha lechavod utif'aret Al HaKol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu modim lahach umvarkim otach Yitbarach shimcha befi kol hai Tamid leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. I believe we might have a little bit of drash.
Usually we do the
Yes, we
prayers, yeah.
prayers in the country
Yeah, that would be Joel, right?
and prayer for Israel.
Source of all life, guard our leaders with righteousness, strengthen their hearts, but keep them from hardening, that they may use their influence and authority to speak truth and act for justice. May all who dwell in this country share in its bounty, enjoy its freedoms, and be protected by its laws. May this nation use its power and wealth to be a voice for justice, peace, and equality for all who dwell on earth. May we be strong and have courage, to be bold in our action and deep in our compassion, to discern when we must listen and when we must act, to uproot bigotry, intolerance, misogyny, racism, discrimination, and violence in all its forms, to celebrate the many faces of God reflected in the wondrous diversity of humanity, to welcome the stranger and the immigrant, and to honor the gifts of those who seek refuge and possibility here as they have since before this nation was born. Let justice well up like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Amen.
Amen.
Prayer for the State of Israel by Harold Levine. Avinu Shabbat Shemayim, our loving guardian in heaven, our rock and redeemer, bless the state of Israel. Shield it with your love, spread over it the sukkah of your peace. Inform its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Give them wise counsel. Strengthen and open the hearts of those who govern the land holy to three faiths, and crown their efforts with success. Grant the land the blessing of peace, and all its inhabitants, all the children of Abraham, whether Israeli or Palestinian, Jew, Muslim, or Christian, a lifetime of security and mutual respect. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Shalom, Shalom, Salam, peace. And let us say, Amen.
Yasher koach. Everyone can hear me if I talk like this online. It's okay? Great. I didn't want to, I felt too far away from all of you over there. So I just first want to say that I'm feeling a lot of gratitude and simcha to be in this community. That it's really heartwarming to me to see a community that is so held up by its lay leadership, and so I just want to give a huge thank you to Neil for really carrying the Torah service so beautifully. Harold for doing such a beautiful job on that Haftorah and bringing us in with your kavanah, and Cantor Rosen and Eliza Schwartz as well. So thank you all, and everybody, and Liz as well, and just everybody who really held up this, has held and continues to hold up this community. So it's a huge blessing for me. So I'm so glad that you shared about the Benot Tzlafcha, Neil, because it's such a worthy story of hearing about, and I'm not going to talk about it. So I'm so happy that we got to hear a little bit about it, and you gave the perfect kavanah. So I think that's what we needed. That's what we needed to hear. So sometimes there's sort of a shared rabbinic brain. So I also want to speak a little bit about the 3 weeks, which I have yet to be able to hear Eliza's beautiful drush from last night, but I'm very excited to listen to. So we just had Shvas Arba Tammuz, the 17th of Tammuz, which, as Eliza said, opens up these 3 weeks that are sort of these sort of 3 weeks of introspection, contemplation, and leading up to Tisha B'Av, which is sort of this bigger day of communal mourning, but Shvas Arba Tammuz is kind of like a mini day of communal mourning, and they're each held on both sides by a fast. So Shvas Arba Tammuz is a sun up to sundown fast, and then Tisha B'Av is the only other fast aside from Yom Kippur that is 25 hours, that starts in the evening and ends the next evening. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And Shivas Arba Tammuz apparently, as we just a little bit heard from Harold, commemorates 5 things that happened to the Jewish people on that day. I'm going to see if I can remember them all, and if I miss one, you can all we'll do a pop quiz. So the first is that it is the day that Moshe broke the tablets. So I'm not sure if you spoke about this, but it a little bit, in many ways, not just because it's the 3 weeks that then leads up to Tisha B'Av, which then leads into the high holidays, sort of the start of the Teshuvah season, but also the Moshe's breaking of the tablets is the beginning of then Moshe having to go back up, get a second set of tablets, and then come back down again, signifying the importance of Teshuvah and having to do things again. So it's the breaking of the tablets. It's the making of the golden calf. It is hold on, let me think 1 second. It is when the sacrifices were stopped. Apparently, the daily offerings were stopped on Shvas Arba Tammuz. It is the siege of Jerusalem. The walls came down on Jerusalem, which is what Harold said, and then it leads eventually to the destruction of the temple, which is commemorated on Tisha B'Av. And lastly, it is a Torah was burned on Shvas Arba Tammuz, which led to the Bar Kokhba revolt. So those are the 5 things that happened on the 17th of Tammuz that we commemorate, and then of course we attach other hardships and communal periods of mourning to this time as well. So because it's preceded because it starts with a fast and then a Tisha B'Av also culminates with a fast, I wanted to bring a question to the group, which is that some people say, I hope you have an easy fast when someone's fasting, and some people say, I hope you have a meaningful fast. So just a little bit, which one feels more true for you, or which one do you gravitate towards? Which one feels like the right, quote unquote, one, the one that feels right to you? Meaningful or easy? So share why. Why do you feel, Lisa and Sam both said that meaningful feels like more meaningful to them. So why? Why would you wish somebody a meaningful fast?
Well, you should have an idea of why you're doing something, and how it fits into your spiritual world, or I don't know how to put it, but it should make sense beyond
the reason for doing a fast should have a meaning. Beautiful, beautiful, excellent.
The Torah says afflict yourself. So if you're saying to somebody have an easy fast, it almost feels a little bit rude, because you're saying don't do the mitzvah too hard.
Okay, I'm just going to repeat Sam. So Sam says that the way that we come to know that the way that we should observe specifically Yom Kippur, but then it gets applied to all fasts, is that the Torah says, Tanu et atzmechem, you should afflict yourselves. And that comes to mean that you should fast, that you should restrict yourself from having food and water. So just to keep going, you were saying if you're wishing somebody an easy fast, it almost seems to negate the whole purpose of the reason behind fasting, which is afflicting yourself. Lisa, I'm going to hold on you because you just spoke, so let me just see if there's anybody else. Stacy?
I have actually a question for the question.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I can't fast, so let's put it out there. But when people say have an easy fast, I think sometimes it may mean that some people have a hard time fasting. I know that I tried fasting for Yom Kippur many years ago, and I found that I got really dizzy. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine gave me food, and he wasn't eating, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I said I can't do this because it's not meaningful to me to hurt myself.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Stacy's sharing just that some people have such a hard time fasting that there's a kindness in wishing somebody an easy fast as well. Thank you. Leslie?
Just thinking about the words of Isaiah during Yom Kippur, think about the fast as a way to change our way of living. Think about what you're doing, otherwise it's meaningless.
And we don't want someone to have a meaningless fast, so perhaps a meaningful fast feels good. Yes, Joel, last one, and then I'm going to...
Well, this is perhaps something in the middle, like I remember when I was a kid, but this is a bit different, but Rosh Hashanah, we weren't supposed to eat anything until after
the meal.
shofar.
Until after the
But
shofar.
there were people, like, they were, like, Lithuanian, they had a custom, they would have a kiddush before Tequila Shofar. The idea being that you should have kavanah, you should have intention, and you don't think of your stomach, you think of tshuva while the shofar is going. So the idea of like having a meaningful fast, but being practical. In other words, uncomfortable perhaps, but ways that it's not too uncomfortable.
Beautiful.
Otherwise.
Beautiful, perfect segue into the next part of what I want to speak about, but a very Jewish answer. That obviously that there's a little bit of both, right? Like there's not a right answer. The answer is there's not one that is more correct than the other. But I wanted to hear a little bit about why one might feel more right for you. But to go into what Joel was saying, that there needs to be a little bit of both. So there is a story in Bava Batra about after the temple was destroyed. That Rabbi Yehoshua comes upon a community that has taken it upon themselves to be an ascetic community, to deprive themselves of meat and wine. And he sits with them and he sort of adopts their customs for a little bit and he asks, so why are you doing this? Why are you not eating meat and why are you not drinking wine? And they say, how can we possibly eat meat now that now that there's no sacrifices anymore? Meat was supposed to be part of the sacrifices, now there's no temple, so we've chosen not to eat meat. Same thing with wine. How can we possibly drink wine? Wine was part of the sacrificial routine, and so how can we possibly drink wine? And he says, okay, well, but what about, then obviously you shouldn't have bread either. Like the mincha offering was flour and water. So, and they're like, you're right. We should deprive ourselves of bread too. But that's fine. We'll be okay. We can drink. We can eat produce, and we can. We'll have vegetables. We'll be vegetarians and gluten free. It's totally fine. And he says, well, what do you mean? The first fruits, that was part of the temple as well. So you shouldn't really have the first fruits either. And they say, you're right. We probably shouldn't have We probably shouldn't have fruits either because of the first fruits. So it's okay. We'll be okay. And he says, well, you probably also shouldn't have water because there was the water libation, the water offering, and now the temple doesn't exist, so we can't do that. So you probably shouldn't have water either. And at that point, they're stumped. You truly can't live without water, so they feel as if he has gotten them to a place of being, he's backed them into a corner. And he says to them, look, it's important to mourn. It's important to be in mourning. But that's an important piece of our human existence. It's an important piece of what happens now that the temple no longer exists, now that our home, our place of worship no longer exists. But it's also important not to be excessively in mourning. You can't go overboard because otherwise you're going to end up like this, where you can't eat anything and you can't drink anything. And so there has to be some kind of medium. And that's what these 3 weeks come to represent. This is the sort of the container, I think as Eliza was saying, to hold where we could go overboard in our grief and our mourning, but instead it's held in these 3 weeks, starting with Shivas Arba Tammuz and ending with Tisha B'Av. And it starts with something a little bit smaller, and the Talmud goes on to say actually that the way that one should do this, the way that one should have a little bit of mourning but not over the top, is it should be as though it's like you're preparing a beautiful fancy meal and you leave out one thing. That's what it should feel like. Or you're making a new home, but you leave a little piece of your wall unplastered. Because it should be, you should have the comforts of your life. You should be able to live a full and wonderful and beautiful life, but there should be a piece, a part of our lives that's left to say, but we still know that there's a way in which it could be more full and more whole, and we need to acknowledge that. And I think that goes to what you were saying, Joel, that there's a way in which we can't be over the top we can't be excessive about the way that we take on any of these practices, including fasting, to Stacy's point. But it's important to have some of it. It's important to keep a piece of it, to have enough kavanah that you're able to fully take in the fact that there's also there's also a real need for having this space for mourning. And so I wanted to share, just to close, a beautiful teaching that I learned about this dichotomy of having an easy fast or having a meaningful fast. And the answer was from this person that for others, you should be worried about their bodily health. That when you're wishing when you're speaking to somebody else, you should wish them an easy fast because you want them to not be in pain or in harm's way. But when you're thinking of yourself, you should think about your spiritual health, and that you should think for yourself. You should wish yourself a meaningful fast because, as Leslie was saying, it shouldn't be meaningless. So I think that holds both. It should be meaningful, but it shouldn't be excessive. We should have meaning in our grief, but we shouldn't deprive ourselves so much that we're in pain or in harm. So with that, I wish you all a meaningful and easy 3 weeks, and Shabbat Shalom. And who am I calling up to finish things? Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Turn to page 441, and if you're able, we ask you to rise in body or spirit as we open the Ark and return the Torah. Page 441.
We'll turn to page 445 for Aleinu. So please remain standing.
Amen.
to remember those who we've lost, either in recent days or in years past. The CBST community extends special condolences to the mourners among us this week. CBST member Larry Kay on the death of his aunt Eva Posner, who died on July 6th, and CBST members Beth Rosen and Robert Rush on the death of Beth's father, William Rosen, who died on July 7th at age 91. And our yahrzeits for our members this week: Willett Fields, Nahum Braverman, Bart Rubenstein, Jerome Fairman, and Philip Levy. And family and friends: Sarah Jacobs, Henry Rosenblum, Craig Bross, Gazella Graham, Daniel Rosenberg, Harry Rosenfeld, Marcus Mursky, Lillian Wolfe, Julius Gershon, Doyle Kavanagh, Martin Cram, Philip Fettergreen, and Alan Weinstein. So if you're in mourning or observing a yahrzeit, or if it's your custom to rise, I invite you to rise, and we will say Mourner's Kaddish together on page 451. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudasha. Le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'yalma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru Amen. May all of their memories be for a blessing, and let us say again, Amen. And now I'm happy to invite up Liz for some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So glad you made it here, even though it's July. And
The swamp outside.
yes, yeah. I think it might actually be raining, or supposed to be raining now. Thank you so much to our Cooperberg Master Rabbinical Summer Intern, Liza, and Cantor Sam for leading a beautiful service, and Rabbi Werbert for some really amazing words of Torah. To our Torah readers, Joe Hirschman, Andy Engel, I'm trying to get everybody, Elizabeth, Leslie, Tara, Neil, and myself, I guess, and to Harold for the Haftarah. There are so many, even though last night Sabrina said you would think it's July, there might be less going on, but there's not. So here's just a brief rundown, but please check our website and all our many emails and social media. Tonight, Havdalah service at 9 p.m. on Zoom. Let's see. Oh, yes, for the baseball people. Sharon, is this you who's leading the Judaism baseball, and you?
It's lame, but it is me.
You are the lady?
I don't say leader, I just thought of it.
Okay.
It's Leslie and Tara and everybody, and Stacy.
On Tuesday at 7:45, join us for a group watching of the Major League All-Star Game and virtual tailgate party. So very exciting. If you are a parent, there is a discount for signing up for Limud before July 31st, so there's more information on that. There's a trip to Cherry Grove for the 40s and 50s group on Sunday, July 23rd. Monday, July 24th at 6 p.m. There's a virtual town hall about the rabbi transition process. If, like me, you are in need of a refresher course for your chanting of the Torah, Cantor Rosen and CBST educator Mia Rothstein are going to offer a 3-session course from 6 to 7:30 on Tuesday nights starting on July 25th. We have Tisha B'Av services beginning on Wednesday at 8:30 July 26th, and then Mincha Maariv study session and service on 7:30 on Thursday, July 27th. What else can I tell you? We are meeting next on August 12th, so there's no additional meeting in July, and the traditional egalitarian minion is meeting next Shabbat?
Yes.
Okay, that's it. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. We got a road.
Harold's going to make a
Road
few
announcer.
And I just wanted to speak to our remote congregation for a minute. We found out during the survey that approximately half of the interactions between our community and our synagogue are now online. And we are committed to making it work as well as possible for everyone online. So Sharon is going to put my email into the chat, hslevine can you do that, Sharon? hslevine@gmail.com. And I'd like to hear back from everyone who is following this service remotely, how this worked for you, what we might do to make it more meaningful to you. And we have a different setup today. We have a much higher quality camera than we usually have. We have a camera person, Shmuley. Everybody say hello to Shmuley, who's done, from what I can tell, a beautiful, beautiful job. But we did not have the opportunity for people at home to participate in the service live. So is this better for you or is this worse for you, and which would you prefer? What can we do to improve the at-home experience? And the last question is, can you give us a little idea as to why you are at home today rather than here? The weather, the summer, you were not in New York City, you have found that it's a more meaningful experience, and whether you have the prayer book at home and you're following along, whether you are just letting it wash over you. All of these are important things we'll be following up on more later, but anything you could tell me would be useful, hslevine@gmail.com, or you could, if you feel that you're not going to be able to do that, but you have some quick feedback, you can put it in chat and Sharon will tell me what it is. Thank you and Shabbat Shalom.
And we'll conclude with Adon Olam, page 459. Adon Olam, Asher Na'ala, B'Terem Kol Yisrael Nivra, Le'ed Nasa, V'Chetzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Mikra, Azai Melech
Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'ritolam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'ritolam.
Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam oti
le'olam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'ritolam.
Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai
et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'ritolam.
Vayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash
Shabbat vayinafash v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'ritolam.
Al ken berach Adonai et yom HaShabbat vaykadshehu sabri chaverai chaverotai Baruch atah Adonai